I'd like to welcome you to this edition of EMU Today TV. I hope you're all sitting back and enjoying these warm days of summer, and not too far off the beaten path will be fall. And my name is Mark S. Lee. I'm your host for EMU Today TV, and we're going to spend some time talking about the upcoming fall semester. So sit back and enjoy. And I'm so pleased to welcome Ms. Ellen Gold, and she's the interim Senior Associate Vice President for Student Affairs and Dean of Students for Eastern and Michigan University. Ellen, good afternoon, good morning, whenever everybody watching this. Thanks for joining me. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Nice.
Good. It's so glad to have you. As we know, as the Dean of Students and as the interim Associate Vice President for Student Affairs, I know the university is doing a lot of prep work for the fall, for the upcoming fall semester for the 21-22 academic year. Kind of give us an update, if you could, on what the plans are for the fall. First of all, when will the fall semester start? And then provide us an update for the fall plans in light of the whole COVID situation. What is the university planning?
Sure. Well, first of all, our fall semester begins early, August 30th, that Monday, which is a week before Labor Day. And some people say you're already starting, but we are gearing up and we'll be ready to go. With approximately 65% of our classes totally in person this coming fall, which is a far cry from last fall where we didn't have in-person classes. So it's a big change. In addition, we'll be having more synchronous classes in terms of students meeting at least once a week with the class in person, and the rest of the class for the remainder of the week would be virtual. So in order to be prepared, we also have to think about the return of people onto the campus. Our new fall students, FIDIACs, we call them, first time in any college, will be arriving to move in to the residence halls August 26th and 27th, and then our returning upper class students move in on the 28th and 29th. And this is a real change that we have to prepare for, because really we were working without students living on campus, and then we had a minimal number of students that were living with us this coming year, this past year. So it's going to be very different. The rules, the guidelines will be very different than they have been in the past. And let me share just a few with you. For example, our students that will be living on campus, whether they're in residence halls or in apartments in campus housing, they will need to verify that they have been vaccinated, fully vaccinated, meaning they have had at least both doses if it was a 2-dose vaccination with 2 weeks after the final dose, or the 1-dose vaccination at least 2 weeks after that dose. They have to be able to show us that they have been fully vaccinated. They will be allowed to move into the halls or the apartments without having to have been tested for COVID. If they have not been vaccinated prior to being able to move into the halls, they will need to get a test about 3 to 5 days before move-in, and they will have to verify to us that they have been tested and have tested negative. So this is a real change for us. I think too, some things that are going to remain the same, and this is out of safety and the well-being of our full campus community. We have something that we have used since the beginning that we call the daily screening, the COVID daily screening pass. Every day, any person that's going to come onto campus, whether it's a student, a faculty member, a guest, needs to complete the COVID daily screening pass. It asks them if they've been symptomatic. It asks them if they've had any close contacts or if they had tested positive. It asks them if they have traveled, etc. Then it determines whether or not they pass the muster to come onto campus with that pass. If that happens, they don't have to do anything once they come on campus because they have it in their iPhone that they have tested, that they have passed the COVID pass, and they can move about freely. Those that don't pass it will need to contact our telehealth clinic and explain what their symptoms were or why they didn't pass, and telehealth will work with them to see if they are permitting it onto campus. So that is no different. What is different about it is when you come to campus this past year, we had every building had screeners there, student ambassadors that were screeners, that if you had passed the pass, you would show it and you could travel through. If you hadn't, you would not be permitted into the building because some people forget to do the pass. And I think that this year, we will be allowing individuals to enter any of the entrances into the buildings because we're going to have so many on campus. We can't have one entrance to a big classroom building, for example, Pray Herald. So they will go into the building. We won't have elevators with only one person in them. We'll be increase the numbers in there without crowding them. The one thing that we're considering is in terms of masking. We're looking at the feasibility of requiring masking in the classrooms, whether or not you've been vaccinated.
Okay. So
we are looking at that, and that the determination will probably be made in the next week. There are a lot of other things that we put in place. We have a COVID report form that will stay in place. If you have tested positive, you're symptomatic, or you've been in close contact with someone who has, we still are asking that be filled out. We work with the health department to provide data to them as well in terms of the number of positive COVID cases on our campus, which I'm happy to say have been the last 6 weeks, 0.
Yeah.
So we're very hopeful that we've done what we need to do to remain safe and to really look out for the well-being of everyone in our campus community.
And that's a very, well thought out plan. One question I have is, if someone is in fact fully vaccinated, they're fully vaccinated, do they need to fill out that daily screening plan? What is the process with that? I know, for example, I filled out a form indicating that I was fully vaccinated. So what is the process with that as it relates to on campus for this particular fall?
So we will still require the daily screening pass. The reason is just because you've been vaccinated doesn't mean that you cannot get COVID.
Right.
So we want to be extra secure. And so if you fill out the daily COVID pass and you've been vaccinated fully, but you have symptoms, the telehealth clinic nurse practitioners are going to want to talk to you to see if you've been exposed to anyone who had tested positive, or is this allergies, what's going on. So we really want to be ensuring people that if someone is positive, that they're not on the campus, or if they live on campus, that we isolate or we quarantine people.
Yeah.
The beauty of not being being vaccinated is if you are a close contact, you will not need to quarantine.
Okay. That is terrific. That is a beautiful thing. That's the advantage. And as we think about, for those viewing this, whether on television or through the social media channels, where can they find these forms? Are these electronic forms, or is this something you have to pick up? Talk about where can they access these forms as well?
They can access them by just going to our homepage, www.emish.edu. There's a link right on there to go to our COVID website, and they'll be able to access any of those forms on the website. I think the other thing that I wanted to mention is we're really promoting vaccinations.
Yeah.
And I'm working with the Washtenaw County Health Department to set up a number of what we call pop-up clinics right at the university in the student center that will be open to the community as well, where they can come and get vaccinated if they haven't been able to. And we're looking to start those right around probably the Saturday before classes start, and we'll probably do at least 2 or 3 of them. So we're excited about being able to work with the county on this.
So if a student or an employee or whomever decides not to get vaccinated or decides not to follow the protocol or whatever, what happens to that individual? Are they allowed on campus? Are they, if they're a student, are they allowed to go to classes? Briefly talk about that.
If we find that an individual has not been vaccinated and they are saying, well, I don't think I need to wear a mask, first the students would have that conversation with me or with the telehealth clinic. We want to understand why. Is that you're afraid that, something might happen if you get the vaccine? Do you have a medical condition that doesn't allow you to get the vaccine safely? So we would discuss that with them initially and determine what the next steps would be for them. For faculty and staff, they would make contact with human resources to say, I don't believe I should need to be vaccinated for this reason. But remember, right now, we are not mandating vaccinations. We're strongly encouraging them.
That's a distinct, important difference, not being mandated at this point, but purely recommending a strong recommendation to do so. And
Right.
as we wrap up, particularly in light of the Delta variant as well, you want to be extra careful as the students are preparing, as well as faculty and staff, as they're preparing to go back to campus. We want everybody to be as safe as possible. Ellen Gold, I want to thank you very much for joining me and providing this update. We want this to be a very successful fall semester. Keep up
Right.
the great work and all that you're doing. We appreciate everything that you, as well as the university, is doing to keep everyone engaged as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me on and being able to share the information.
My pleasure. And speaking of sharing the information, we want to stress one more time, classes do start August the 30th, right around the corner. Make sure that you do all your due diligence and your homework as it relates to the proper protocol before you can go to campus. As we go to break, we're going to acknowledge Zach Wigal, a distinguished alum from Eastern Michigan University, with a brief video. On the other side of this video, we'll be coming back and talking directly with Zach Wigal.
I get excited sharing my passion for video games with people because I just want to spread the love and I want more people to be playing games. More importantly, we're seeing the tremendous impact play has, and it just so happens as gamers, we have the knowledge to be of help. So Gamers Outreach is an organization that is focused on making play accessible in hospitals, and we do that through video games. Eastern Michigan University had a tremendous impact on my life. It was this campus existing that I had an environment to explore my interest as a video game enthusiast. So this all started about 14 years ago. I was a high school student. I developed an interest in hosting video game tournaments, and actually that's how I discovered Eastern Michigan. At the time, the Student Center had just been completed, and it was a perfect facility for hosting my events. So I started organizing video game tournaments and would take the money from ticket sales and donate that money towards buying video games for our local children's hospitals. So my role as founder and executive director is to ensure that we're going into healthcare facilities and helping them manage video game content at scale. And really our goal in doing that is to help improve the patient experience. So we do a lot of work with kids and families who are undergoing treatment for extended periods of time. And through video games, we're providing them with access to activities, opportunities to socialize, and there are even cases where video games are helping with the healthcare process. We're in about 230 hospitals nationwide, and we estimate our programs are supporting between 2 to 2.5 million play sessions each year across all the devices we've deployed. Each year, we host an event called Gamers for Giving. So we'll rent out the Convocation Center. We have a team of volunteers and staff who will deploy network infrastructure, build out some production value, and then we'll invite out a couple thousand video game enthusiasts. And they play video games for an entire weekend. And then we also produce a stream broadcast from the event where we'll ask people on the internet to donate and support the work we're doing in hospitals around the country. Outside of Gamers Outreach, I'm also involved with Game Above. We're a group of Eastern Michigan alumni, and we've come together to basically help evolve I had the opportunity to benefit from the facilities we have here at Eastern Michigan, as well as the patience, understanding, and education that was provided by the faculty. Everything that happened to me during my time at Eastern has been a large part of making my career possible to date. We're super proud to represent Eastern Michigan on the national level, and we hope to continue making everyone proud. So thank you so much for this honor. I wish we could see each other in person, but I'm super grateful to be a part of this distinguished class of alumni.
Welcome back to EMU Today TV. Yes, I hope you enjoyed that video with Zach Wigal. And speaking of Zach, he's here joining us, one of the distinguished outstanding young alumni of Eastern Michigan University. He also graduated from EMU in 2016. Okay, little point of pride here. And on a personal note, he's a former student of mine in the College of Business and Marketing. We were talking, and he took a marketing strategy class with me. Zach Wigal, it's so good to see you. It's been years. I don't think I've seen you since you graduated from Eastern and since you took that class with me.
Yeah, it has been a little while. It's so good to talk with you, Mark. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, I'm so glad to have you. We want to have you and acknowledge you because you've been doing some outstanding things as an alum. So first of all, congratulations for being named the Outstanding Young Alum for Eastern Michigan. Talk to us about that award and what it meant to you getting it from your university.
Thanks. I appreciate the kind words, and it meant a lot. You know, I enrolled at Eastern Michigan really because I had an interest in hosting video game tournaments. And it just so happened the university had the facilities, some of the best facilities in the area for hosting the sort of activities I was looking to put together. And I can say I had a really wonderful time at Eastern Michigan. I definitely probably caused a few headaches for professors along the way, which you may remember because I was traveling a lot back and forth. I was working in the video game industry almost right out of high school, and I'd actually taken a couple years off between high school and college to pursue that interest, and started this organization, Gamers Outreach. And so really being at Eastern helped me kind of provide a framework to some things I had started to learn on my own, but also provided the environment to build this organization that is now my full-time job. So it's really exciting to get that recognition from the university.
So let's talk about Gamers Outreach. I mean, we know that you're involved in the program, but for those who are tuning in, not exactly sure what Gamers Outreach is, kind of give an overview of what the organization does.
Of course. So I'm leading this organization, Gamers Outreach, and we're a charity organization that is focused on making play more accessible inside hospitals. And we do that through video games. So I started this organization about 14 years ago as a high school student after I kind of accidentally discovered Mott Children's Hospital in Ann Arbor was having a difficult time providing kids with access to activities. Well, I've grown up playing video games most all my life. And as a video game enthusiast, it just seemed obvious to me, you know, if we could provide this hospital with access to technology and games, we could actually enable play at scale. Like video games are sort of unique in that if a hospital has the devices and the capability to manage technology, you could potentially have kids that are stuck in their rooms across hundreds of rooms, all playing games, all being able to socialize through the internet, through these devices simultaneously. And that's really cool because in most hospitals, there's kind of a limit on what sort of activities kids can enjoy. If you think about a playroom, playrooms are cool, but only so many kids can get to those rooms at a period of time. And even sometimes in a hospital, there might be kids that aren't well enough to go to those rooms. Maybe they physically can't even go there. And then sometimes you have like musicians, therapy dogs, magicians, various volunteers who come into children's hospitals to provide kids with activities.
Right.
But even they're sort of limited in terms of like how many kids they can support at a given time or during a given visit. But with video games, if a hospital has access to video games, you can have this sort of baseline level of play available to all the kids at the same time. And so that's what our organization is focused on doing. We go into healthcare facilities and we help them manage video game content at scale. So this all started with Mott back in 2007. At the time, it was just a passion project. Fast forward 14 years, Now we have a presence in about 230 healthcare facilities, primarily in the US. And we estimate somewhere between 2 to 2.5 million play sessions are made possible thanks to all the devices we've deployed across these hospitals each year.
There's another form of entertainment for the kids in the hospitals as well. I mean, as we all know, excuse me, in some way, shape, or form, going to a hospital could be an arduous experience. And clearly, and we know that the physicians, the healthcare frontline workers do the best job they can to make people comfortable. But this is another example of providing young people an opportunity to be entertained and still be stimulated mentally as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we work with a number of healthcare professionals who do a fantastic job providing kids with care. And what we're trying to do is reinforce the work they're doing. We're trying to help them provide kids with a better quality of life while they're going through the recovery process. Yeah. So we see games help with that in a variety of ways. I mean, we had a child we were working with who was waiting on a heart transplant. And this particular kid was stuck in his room for 9 months. And during that time, the nurses, the doctors, they didn't want him to leave this particular area of the hospital because they were worried, hey, if something happens, man, we're going to have to try to keep you alive. So it's very serious. Well, his mom was telling us, if it hadn't been for video games, my son would have gone insane because at least he had access to this digital playground. Obviously, as a parent, you want to see your kid, hanging out with their friends, going through the sort of normal childhood development things that kids go through. But in this situation, having access to gaming allowed this kid to socialize, allowed him to escape the walls of his hospital, and really provided a sense of agency when he otherwise is being kind of told what to do each day. Yeah. So the good news is, thankfully, he had his surgery. He's fine now. Everything's great. But during those 9 months, I mean, he's basically under like house arrest almost, waiting to, hopefully recover. So video games can play a tremendous role in the hospital, in a variety of ways, from an entertainment standpoint and a healthcare standpoint as well.
And before we segue briefly into the game above concept and program as well, you were announced for this effort a finalist for the CNN Hero of the Year, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah. So CNN, I actually got this will be a boast, I guess, since you brought it up. I got the hardware somewhere. We got they actually got the trophy here. It's pretty cool. So CNN has this television program they put together each year called CNN Heroes. And they basically highlight folks who are working on various, charitable endeavors worldwide. So we were one of 10 causes to be selected for the 2019 program and highlighted on this televised gala they produced. So we got to meet a handful of people, like Anderson Cooper was hosting.
I did watch it. Did
you watch it? Yeah, it's pretty cool. And one of the kids if you watch that show, Stranger Things, I was actually at the table with him. And so we were talking throughout the night. It was pretty funny. And it was really great. It was wonderful, for our cause to be recognized in that way, to really bring attention to the kids and families that are really fighting and going through some of the hardest battles of their lives. So it's obviously fun for us to boast about, but most importantly, it was really a moment for us to highlight the work that's being done in these hospitals and how we can hopefully get more people involved with the work being done. So we're really excited about it. Our whole team was pretty pumped. And yeah, I'm in the midst of moving it. You can see probably all of my stuff here in the background. I'm in the midst of moving into a new office right now. So it just so happened this was behind me. But it needs to go on a shelf.
Not only were you pumped, but Eastern Michigan University has the alum. We were pumped for you. So of course you had our total support. And speaking of total support, the game above, there was a recent donation made to the university by the Game Above organization. Talk about the Game Above as ties to the College of Technology, but talk about your involvement with Game Above and what is its primary mission as well.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So lifelong education is a topic that is really important to me. I think, I don't think learning should stop after high school. I don't think it should stop after college. Ideally, it should be something that continues throughout our lives. And for that reason, a group of Eastern Michigan alumni have come together to form this entity called Game Above. And it's basically a way for us to think about the future of education at Eastern Michigan and how we can be supportive in helping the university stay current, stay modernized, and provide students with opportunities to have incredible careers. Mm-hmm. And so it's an assortment of people. We've got some folks on the team that are crazy successful entrepreneurs. And I'm one of the youngest members at the moment. And having just recently graduated, I sort of bring that perspective of kind of like currently what's been happening at the university. And we're just looking to give back. We've been engaged in a number of projects where we're helping to identify various areas of need within the university ecosystem. We're trying to step up to the plate to provide the resources to fill those needs. Mm-hmm. And then we're also trying to help think about what the future of education looks like and how can we as alumni reinforce what's happening at the university already. Obviously, the professors at the university are doing all the work they do to provide education as of right now to students. You have administrators that are working day to day, and we're trying to kind of act as like almost like a special forces unit that can help provide resources and maybe even feedback to the university to help amplify and make for a better learning experience. So we're pretty excited about it. And I think we try to be very sensitive of the university's needs. We don't want to come in and like just assume we know what might be best for the university. Not at all. It's really about working hand in hand with the university administration, the professors, and the students to understand, what's going to be most healthy for everybody in the ecosystem. But
what's healthy is that a healthy financial contribution was made to the university as well, and it helped to rename, I think, one of the colleges, correct?
Yep. Yeah. College of Engineering Technology, I believe, the game above. Yep. Game above awesome. College of Engineering Technology.
And I think and that's why you've been acknowledged as the Outstanding Young Alum. This award is because of your contributions to what you're doing to the university. You're out in California now, but you have very strong ties to Michigan. You still have very strong ties to Eastern Michigan University. And I think, we are so proud of you. And as a former professor of yours, I'm very proud of you in terms of what you're doing to make a change and really affecting change for the young people who have a desire to continue to educate themselves on a go-forward basis.
Well, thanks, Mark. That really means a lot, especially coming from you. Yeah, being in Los Angeles, I mean, it just so happens the work we do at Gamers Outreach, a lot of our support comes from the entertainment industry, and it's literally right behind me. Like the bulk of it is right over there. So, it being here is helpful, but we still host our annual fundraiser. We have an event called Gamers for Giving. We rent out the Convocation Center each year and host this big video game tournament. So a lot of our community is based in Michigan. Our roots are in Michigan, and it's important to us to still stay true to those roots and continue to be involved. So yeah, super excited. It's just the state of the world we live in. It's a little easier to bounce back and forth these days.
Well, Zach Wigal, I want to thank you very much. It's so good to see you again, and much continued success.
Of course, thanks, Mark. Appreciate you having me on.
My pleasure. That will do for another edition of EMU Today TV, and we want you to spread the word about what's happening this fall for the upcoming semester. We will check you out next time on EMU Today TV. Again, have a great day, have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.